There's literally a spiritual war happening as you're watching this video right now. And how you respond to it could very well determine the likelihood that you are existing in a fifth dimensional plane or a third dimensional plane. Because as I'm sure you've heard, the Earth currently is shifting timelines. And what that means is there's going to be groups of people that go to the ascending timeline where they're meeting all the abundance, they're meeting all the connections, they're pretty much living the life that they've dreamed about because they're choosing to cooperate with the algorithms of success of the current timeline. And there's people that are going to be on the third dimensional timeline. And these people are going to be experiencing a lot of struggle. And it's because they're relying on things outside of themselves. Maybe this is a belief that they need old systems to support them. Maybe this is a belief that they need um, old forms of manifestation, like really not knowing that they could find what it is that they're looking for inside themselves. But the key to really realizing which timeline that you yourself are going to be on is asking yourself a simple question. And that question is, are you every moment taking the initiative to create the life of your dreams? Because the fact that you're holding this phone, these black mirrors, they actually go back a very, very long amount of time in the past. Because in the past, black mirrors used to be known by the name, at least in central Mexico, as Tezcatlipoca. Now, this name means many things. One of the names that it means is smoking mirror. But what's important for us in this moment to realize is that one of his epitaphs is he who gives to you everything and he who takes from you everything. And so if you're the device that you're looking me on is literally giving you that capacity. Like this device, you can either spend your time like locked into some fake AI relationship, doom scrolling, going and, playing meaningless games that don't matter, or you could be doing the fundamental action of creating the life of your dreams. Now, for some of you, this may be like building a store, this may be going and doing something with AI. And if that's you, this video may not be for you. However, it still is incredibly relevant because what I'm going to be talking about here is personal branding, or as I actually call it, creating a digital double. Because as I'm sure you're realizing, the different planes that are being created right now and are coming down into human level awareness. See, for a long time, human awareness was locked at like the first chakra, the second chakra, and then it's getting up into the third chakra. So what I mean by that is the first chakra is all about survival, so asking us, how can we even survive what it is that is going to us right now? The second chakra is sexuality. How can I create? How can I express myself? These are like the two most basic human functions that really is very similar in us to animals is sexuality and survival. But the third chakra is all about willpower. And so this is where we get a lot of the history of the last thousands of years is people attempting to express their willpower onto others. And so what we're creating really right now are new timelines of the heart frequency and also the throat frequency, because the heart is that feeling of love, it's that feeling of acceptance, actually being able to control what goes on in your mind and the concepts that you create, realizing that those concepts will direct you anywhere that you go. And through that, you can choose to navigate that through opening your heart to the ideas and ways of living that are most aligned with your higher self. And the throat is that power to create. So this is the power to create your own concepts. And if you look at what has happened over the last several thousand years, the concepts like the economy, the social order, religion, all of these structures are dictated outside, still relating to people's own ability to actually enforce their will onto others, because they're not things that you came up with yourself, or that you discovered yourself, or that you even maybe have a resonance with all of them, but you're just forced, or you're believed to be forced in that way because of the other two chakras of survival and sexuality. Now, in this new timeline split that's happening, people are being rewarded who are able to follow their heart, that they're able to leave their 9 to 5, that are able to actually live a life of impact, of creation. We see these people all over our feed, all over these videos that you've probably watched several of by this point, I would reckon. And so, in order to become one of these people, you have to also be accessing the chakra of the throat chakra. And not everybody is doing this. Obviously, there are different levels to what's really going on here. But as you can see, there are people out there, people that are actually living their purpose. And what this mirror that you're holding has done, just like it has done in ancient times, it gives you the ability to actually create the image that you're reflecting. Because when you're building what I call a digital double, what you're doing is you're uploading your own alchemy, the way that you actually transmute reality, whether that's getting people more fit or healed or knowledgeable or wealthy. It's getting all of these adjectives that actually describe the quality of our energy, and it's uploading that to the internet, how you can serve, how you can help people. And as you do that, like there's a certain law of the universe that says what you give out, you will then receive. And so when you are constantly giving in the form of your knowledge, in the form of your alchemy, then what it is, eventually you're going to receive some of that alchemy back to you. At the first, this can just be in the form of inspired comments. Next, it could be in the form of knowledge, people that previously you looked up to that now you're able to contact, able to be around. And finally, or maybe just the beginning of a new level, there's actually something that can get you paid. And this is exactly how, I've gone from this time last year struggling by on trying to do tarot readings once a week to now making like almost $30,000 in the past 4 months, hitting my first $10,000 month, the most money I've ever made, even though I've been in online business for almost over 2 years now. And the reason that that happened is because I actually uploaded the DNA of into this crystal grid. Because what shamans have known for a very long time, and you're going to see this across every tradition, whether it's the fifth dimension, whether it's the end of the Kali Yuga, whether it's, as I like to refer it, the return of the sixth sun or the age of Aquarius, it's clear that the earth is shifting. And what it's said by the shamans of Toltec, Mexico, who I studied under and with, is that it's said that what has been hidden in the light is going to be revealed in the darkness. Now, this is a significant statement because it shows us that the structures that are creating reality, because for them the darkness came first, what's internal, what we're dreaming creates what's external, the light, and this is even in the Bible, is that what happens first in the subtle planes is then mirrored on the spiritual planes. And so we can see this with the return of things like AI, with the return of things like the internet, but they're coming back in more grounded forms, more technologically based forms, but it doesn't mean these structures weren't there in the first place. Because one thing that I learned to do with these shamans is go and shape a specific reflection of myself in a mirror, in a black mirror specifically, and then we used other crystal mirrors. What you're holding in your hand is a black mirror. That when you shape your reflection, how it is that you're perceived, just like in the form of shamanism that is many thousands of years old and uses crystal mirrors, much like this one that I'm about to show you, is that what it is that we see ourselves in the mirror, this is actually what is being seen by the earth. And this image that we create just grows in power and power. And so as you do that by uploading yourself in your transformational capacity, going and changing people's lives, giving the guidance, giving the advice, giving the teachings, giving yourself, and creating a digital double, then you become someone that's able to actually utilize the ways that these higher forms of reality, where manifestation is more instant, and you're able to create from that frequency. A lot of the people that you hear and see about living a fifth dimensional reality, they're all doing it from their phone. You're all seeing these on your computer screens. And the reason that is because when you go and allow yourself to be manifesting from the frequency of somebody that is actually using the largest technological innovation that's happened in the several thousand years, because it's a materialization of more information of how reality works. Because people have known, shamans have known, wise people have known that we're telepathic for ages. And now it's pretty clear, when I send somebody a text that's in London and they receive it instantly. This is a manifestation of the fact that we're becoming less and less bound by space. But for a lot of people, they're still allowing themselves to be bound by space. They're still looking for something outside of themselves that they're waiting to see in their third dimensional space. One of the things we know about manifestation, though, is that you have to see it inside. You have to create it in the darkness before you see it in the light. And so when you're allowing yourself to see yourself as the person that is the master alchemist, as the transformer of other people's reality, then what happens is that version of yourself gets brought to light. And the version of yourself where you know celebrities, where you're getting paid lots of money, $10,000, $100,000, maybe $1 million a month, right? That version of yourself can actually come forward and manifest because that's how you're seeing yourself. And these shifts don't have to be instant. In fact, one of the techniques of any magical system is going to be repetition, is going to be creating it through cycles. Because part of the alchemical process of really creating anything is going through the four Tezcatlipoca's, the four versions of this mirror. And if you go through this, you're going to find yourself becoming a master alchemist. Because first, the Tezcatlipoca of the north, the Blast Tezcatlipoca, he says to bring things from your unconscious into light. That's the first step, is seeing. How do you see yourself? Are you seeing yourself as somebody that's being criticized for making videos, or are you seeing yourself as already successful? The red Tezcatlipoca, the one that says, what must be given life, and what must be given death? What version of myself do I need to leave behind? Do I need to give death to in order to give life to the version of myself that is abundant, that is living in the fifth dimension, that is free, that is filled with all the connections you could ever need? Probably more disciplined, probably more focused. And that's actually the essence of the blue Tezcatlipoca, the Tezcatlipoca of the south, the one that says whatever it is that we create needs to be manifested through cycles. So you're going to need to be consistent, because the future only happens through cycles and cycles of the present. So you need to be consistent with everything, with magic, with content. You need to create it as something that is part of your instincts. And finally, the yellow Tezcatlipoca, Tezcatlipoca of the east, that says, once you do this, once you lead something to a cycle, you will gain knowledge of it. And so this pattern of bringing a version of yourself from darkness to light, a vision, knowing what you're going to need to sacrifice to give life to this version, repeating it through cycles, and learning knowledge, is exactly how you can excel in content, in living at this fifth dimensional frequency. Because when you're creating content, you're not seeing anything that can come to you as outside of yourself. You're realizing that there is a certain amount of energy that I'm going to need to manifest whatever version of myself, whatever project, and that attention is energy. So a lot of people struggle to get the investors, or to get the resources, or to get the connections, or to get the gigs to help them succeed and live their fifth dimensional life. But when you create content, you realize that's inside of you. You actually have the ability to create all the connections, all the finances, all the attention, because ultimately it's attention that's creating these things. I have a lot of attention, you can get money, you can get connections, you can get pretty much whatever it is that you need, even magical energy. Because all occultists know attention is energy. So the more attention that you have, the faster it is for you to manifest, and the more that you're realizing the fundamental power that you have to reshape your own reality and to reshape the world as well. If this is something that you want any help with, go click the link below, apply for my coaching program, and I'll see if I can help you actually become someone and unlock the version of yourself that already is a successful healer, successful shaman, financially abundant, creatively abundant. It's not difficult once you harness this tool that you're holding to shape your life. But the question is, are you going to continue consuming? Are you going to let this mirror take all of your attention? Or are you going to use it to gain attention? Because those are the people that are going to be able to exist in the fifth dimensional frequency. Realize that all the attention they need is right within themselves, because they can create it. This doesn't just apply to human attention either. Even if you go and live in the mountains, far away from everything, spirit attention, attention from the spirits, attention from the flow of energy, because energy itself is conscious. That's a form of attention. That accomplishes things in more subtle realms than just the physical. People, if you're doing that, you're already beyond, in many places, the third dimension. And even the people that do, even the people that are really living like true ascetics and masters on the mountaintops, many of them create content as well. That's because what you're watching me on is the fundamental tool for how human attention, how the concepts that create our life, they create the way that we think about things, create the way that we feel about things, create the way that we define our reality, are being created and seeded and grown in this magic mirror, in this other world of the fourth dimension. So if you really want to live your ascended timeline, Let yourself get on it. Make a digital reflection. Invest in help if you need it. Earlier this year, I really wondered if I should invest $8,000 into getting the help I need to create a coaching program. Now I'm $30,000 later, 4 months later, only getting started. So it really can change your life because when you have the information to connect with all the attention, all the energy that you need to realize your desires, they're going to happen. And then the question is not how do I live a fifth dimensional life, but what do I want to create while I'm living it? Go comment living it if you made it to the end of the video. If you need help with all this, click the link below. Apply. Hope to see you inside. Aloha.